So with interval notation, this is a notation that mathematicians will often use just to show sets of numbers. So an interval describes a set from one number to another number. So for example, I've made this number line here, and let's say I want to just talk about the numbers from -1 to 4. So the space right here. If I was going to say, so let's pretend all the values in here we're just going to call x. So I can pick any number between -1 and x, not including -1 or 4. Remember that this means equal to, but if it's not included, then it's just the less than. This equivalates in interval notation to -1 parentheses 4. It's basically saying I'm starting at -1, I'm going all the way to 4, not including those numbers. If I was including those numbers, like if I fill these circles in here, and I was going to say equal to, I would change these to square brackets. And that's just the way it goes. So parentheses means not including. And square bracket means including. And it's possible to have both. Like you can say I'm going all the way from -1 to 4, and I'm going to include 4, but I'm not going to include -1. This just means I'm just picking numbers more than -1, but less than or equal to 4. That's all it means. So these statements are equivalent. The reason this is important in terms of a quadratic is that in a quadratic, we'll often talk, and in any graph, we'll talk about domain and range. So like, let's say here, for example, so the domain, remember, talks about the x's, and the domain is all the way from -infinity to +infinity. I can have any one of those numbers. So because infinity is such a weird number, we always use a parentheses for it, always, always. So you might see it written like this, parentheses, from -infinity to +infinity, or you might just see this r. It means all real numbers. The range in this case, however, so let's say this is -3 or something. It's including -3 because the line is touching at -3, so it's going to be a bracket -3. But it goes all the way to +infinity, and infinity is always a parentheses. So that's how we would write the domain and range. So pause a minute, just make sure you understand where that's coming from. And this is just saying the interval between -infinity and infinity. It's saying x's can be chosen from anywhere from -infinity to +infinity, and y's can be anything including -3 all the way to +infinity, not including +infinity though. So that's what it's saying. Increasing, decreasing is related, but it only talks about x. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this stuff here. So let's say, we're going to just call that the axis is at 0. So x equals 0 is our axis of symmetry. Right on the left, it's decreasing. So one way to say that is it's decreasing from -infinity to 0. Because all the way to 0, it's going down, 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 down. But then after 0, it starts to go up, 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 some more. And so it's increasing from 0 to infinity. Notice that both of these are not including. They're both parentheses at 0. And the reason is at this point, it's not increasing or decreasing. It's just like a flat line. And that's the point where it's changing. So at the point where it's changing direction, it's going to be a parentheses just because it's not included in either group. So hopefully that helps to explain a little bit about the interval notation. Let me know if you have any questions, because this will show up again, not just this year, but also in Math 3, where you're showing like the space between two numbers. So hopefully that helps.